How's your day going, sir?
Going pretty good. I've just about lost my voice, which I think tells you a lot about what a good time I'm having here over the course of the weekend. Partied into the wee hours last night and up early and doing it again with the fans. It's awesome.
I ended up sleeping through the VIP party last night. How'd that go?
Oh my God, I was very excited because I thought you were going to say I ended up sleeping with, somebody last night.
That's my girlfriend over there.
I know, but I'm just saying, you're like, you would take one for the team. Like, listen, I ended up sleeping with Carmela. I got a great interview,
Well,
Yeah, listen, right? That would be okay. She's on the list, right? The celebrities, if you met them.
She has a hall pass for John Bianco across the hallway, so
nice.
She's all right.
Oh, wow. Interesting. That tells me something about you. VIP was amazing. That's probably why I lost my voice. It's great. I mean, Dominic Chianese, who plays Uncle Junior, he was singing Italian love songs. We had
Awesome.
Alabama 3 blowing it out with our soundtrack from the show. We had guys doing stand-up. It was just great. Great night of, and really still overwhelmed by the love of the fans who bought me way too many drinks. So I'm going to have to be careful with that tonight.
So you are a huge part of a groundbreaking way of storytelling. You came in as Agent Harris, introduced in season 1.
Yep.
The main FBI agent portrayed in the show. And this was at the beginning of the anti-hero era on TV where what would typically be seen as the villain is the protagonist and the antagonist is someone like an FBI agent. How did that feel going into the beginning of that?
It was, at the beginning it was a very interesting, because I really was only hired for one episode. One single solitary episode in season 1, which turned into 3 episodes in the first season, and 7 seasons of playing the character. And it was, going into it, I always say, I kind of didn't think the show was going to last. I loved it. It was I was very much the audience. I was the demo. Love Goodfellas, love Godfather, mob movies, mob culture. But then I thought, I don't know if it's going to have a large appeal to America, but I didn't realize that it was really a family drama. But at its heart, it's not a mob show. It's a family drama, and that family just happens to be the Sopranos. So what he does is secondary to who he is, and everybody could find a wedge into the show, whether it was a couple that's not getting along, kids that drive you crazy.
Oh yeah.
You don't like your job. So everybody found their way into the show, and as it went on, and the FBI relationship changed dramatically after 9/11, which helped my character a lot. When I went from organized crime to anti-terrorism, the fans flipped. I flipped the fans with me, and now they were rooting for Agent Harris because I was trying to catch the terrorists with Tony's help. And that really, I have so many fans coming up to me saying, "Oh my God, I love your character." I'm like, "You weren't loving me in seasons 1, 2, or 3. Let's not kid ourselves." But that shift helped it a lot.
You and Tony do build up a rapport in season 2, I want to say, and it's funny you bring that up. The Sopranos is one of the, if not the first show to have 9/11 as almost like a character or a plot device, and the tone of the show itself shifts dramatically between seasons 3 and 4.
Yep.
What were conversations behind the scenes like in the writers' room or with David Chase?
That's something I wasn't privy to. A lot of the fans, I said even some of the writing would change over the course of the season. Scenes were deleted, things were added. But you definitely felt a sense, New York, New Jersey, comes under attack. How can you ignore that? The reason the show was so authentic is we shot it where it's set. So often somebody tries to double Toronto for New York City or New Jersey, and it just doesn't work. And I always said the main character of the show is New Jersey, New York. I mean, it is, that location and shooting on location. So once 9/11 happened, you couldn't ignore it. Other shows could. We couldn't afford to because it was affecting everyone's daily life, work life, and I imagine, definitely when you're talking about things like organized crime and the docks and, the city, the pulse of the city, you could feel it. So I love that we not only didn't avoid it, we embraced it, and we went right at it.
I think the show did it in an incredibly real and tasteful way to which, other films and television shows tried and probably missed the mark more so.
Yeah, and I think we also, there was also an acknowledgement that, not everybody who doesn't look like you was a terrorist. I mean, we also had characters come on the show that were just guys from Jersey or from New York that were trying to do business with the family, and they weren't terrorists, you know. But
Sure.
I like that we kind of acknowledge like these are weird times because you can't figure out which way is up, and all of a sudden everybody that's not exactly like you might be a threat, you know. And so that's what I liked, is that we didn't traffic in hyperbole at all.
Sure, and like it's left really ambiguous even at the end of the series whether or not those two guys you and Tony were tracking down were actually terrorists.
We never. Yeah, so much of the show. I mean, that's why the show, I think, succeeds. So much of it is ambiguous. We including the very, very end of the show, the last shot is ambiguous. So David didn't feel any pressure to put bows on storylines because, you know, and wrap them up in a neat little box, because he had written for network television. He was done writing those kind of shows where every episode has to end with a perfect little box with a bow on it saying, okay, that storyline's done, you can digest it easily and move on to the next episode. Sopranos never did that. We never.
Absolutely not.
I mean, for years I used to go, where's the Russian? Where's the rapist? Where's the terrorist? Like, because people wanted closure. And David, I think that's why the show still has this following. It's like it's like things never ended. They didn't have closure.
When I interviewed Federico the other night, I asked him what he thought happened to Furio, and he had this whole like elaborate epilogue movie already in his mind. So now I'm gonna bug him to like actually make it now.
Of course.
Kind of like El Camino.
Yeah, right. I've said, I mean, I'm hanging out with all the guys, and I'm like, wait a minute, so maybe I just need to write a movie that's sort of about The Sopranos, so I can avoid a lawsuit and use all of these guys, because
it's like Lilyhammer, like when Steven Van Zandt did that. Right. So you worked alongside James Gandolfini for upwards of a decade.
Yep.
And I'm collecting stories from the cast. What is your favorite story about James Gandolfini from working with him that nobody else on this planet can tell?
Little known fact that I actually had a heart attack while working on The Sopranos.
No shit.
I did. A lot of people don't know that. We were probably in the middle of shooting, I want to say season 6. Let's see, this would have been 2000. It was 2006 when I had it, right? Yes.
Right.
So this would have been season 6, 6A probably. And anyways, they had to kind of put Agent Harris' storyline on hold while I went and had open heart surgery and recover. And Jimmy just thought it was hysterical that I'm the one that ended up having a heart attack after eating, and especially because that whole season, I think I must have eaten about 10,000 Satriale's sandwiches, because every scene I was always sitting at the pork store eating, mortadelle, gabagool, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden I have a heart attack, and Jimmy sent a basket of meats and cheeses to my hospital room because he thought it was hysterical that, you know, this is what's put me in the hospital, and he thought it'd be funny to send me a get well basket of the crap that put me
amazing.
there. Yeah. So not crap, good food.
So good.
Anyway, so that was that's his sick sense of humor. Jimmy had a very delicious, dark sense of humor that all these guys have. You know, this whole show. I love the ball busting that goes on when we're together. It's been happening yesterday. It's happening today. I just had Carl Capatorro to walk over and say, because there was nobody here to want my autograph, so of course he's going to bust my balls.
Yeah, so I walked up on Tony, who played Larry Boy over the course of the show, and I had interviewed him Friday night at the dinner, and like his table was fairly empty. It was the beginning of the event. I'm like, hey, thank you so much for the other night. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh, I interviewed you 2 nights ago. He goes, what do you want, a fucking medal? And so that's just like my day peaked early too.